Oh wow, all my lights are off. What's going on, everyone? Vegas here, SerpentX Tech. Great start to today's show. I got a special episode for you today for Caffeine and Crypto. Got a few guests for it with us hanging out. But anyways, my name's Vega, SerpentX Tech. Welcome to today's Caffeine and Crypto, where I welcome you to join you or ask you to join me with your favorite caffeinated beverage to drink. Coffee, energy drink, tea. If you don't like caffeine, grab some damn water, as we normally go into today's crypto news or this past week, but today is going to be a little bit different. So the special guests I have with us are Chief and Zach from Telestai. And I've been saying it wrong. Neoxa community kills me. Caspa community kills me. Everybody rips into me. It's Telestai. I've been saying it wrong. I apologize for saying it wrong from the get-go. Chief has corrected me, and I will say it correctly from now on. I apologize. So, Chief, I'm going to open up with you. Introductions to yourself in general, and then we'll lead into Zach.
Absolutely. Yeah. Look, thanks for having us on. Introductions, Chief. I've been in crypto a little while now. Effectively a miner. So started a lot of my crypto, as most people do, just by mining. GPU mining in particular. Love the kind of tinkering. I love the, getting involved in projects at a grassroots level and through securing the chain. And Telestai is, I suppose, a bit of a brainchild that we've come up with, that Zach and I have been working on for, I think, probably about 6 months now. So, yeah.
Good deal. I mean, when you guys came out the gates, I was intrigued by the project, and I believe we'll talk more about that in a moment. But let's just first get into Zach. I get distracted. ADHD is kicking in. Zach, introductions.
Hello, everyone. I'm Zach. I'm a full stack kind of developer in the space. Kind of got involved with blockchain since 2017, and I just love to build things. So, and at Telestai, we're building pretty cool things. So, it's been a lot of fun. And I kind of got into crypto around 2017, and kind of been building things here and there. Went into some like embedded engineering and some robotic stuff as well. But yeah, right now I'm just working on a bunch of crypto projects. It's been a lot of fun.
Been very busy as always, both of you. So, Chief, you and I believe, met because we wanted to audit the Telestai, I guess the initial core wallet, and that's how I got my introduction. I was intrigued by the project and stuff like that. What is Telestai? Like, what are you trying to build here? Give us kind of like a nutshell, general overview.
I think probably the best way to describe this is an ecosystem. So Telestai is an ecosystem of decentralized platforms. Now, what we're primarily focusing on within those ecosystems is social media. So we've got a platform which we call Lascaux. Lascaux is going to be our social media platform, which will hopefully be a place where people can, as a content creator like yourself, make the right amount of money back from all of the work that you guys go towards, and as users, hopefully you can also commercialize some of the data that you utilize on your browsing approach, essentially. So the brainchild and the background to it is essentially, I've been watching a lot of the trends culturally with social media platforms and with creators, and I think that there's a better paradigm that content creators and content users or users of a platform can engage with, and that's how we're kind of building Telestai out, is to be completely decentralized, censorship resistant, and private.
Okay. And I played around with it when I think the initial V1 was out, just in beta or alpha. I mean, where are we at with it right now as far as the project? Like, are we
Yeah, look,
are we in the closing stages of this decentralized ecosystem that creators and consumers of content creators can coalesce in?
yeah, look, we're up to version 2 at the moment, and how that version works is essentially, so the BIP 39 elements of privacy that you have with your core wallet or with a crypto wallet in general, effectively allows you as a user to log in. So that creates the level of security that we want, but it also creates a bit of a digital fingerprint. So you as the user are uniquely identified through your address essentially, and from there you can post. We're at a place now where we're about to roll out version 3. So we're probably, I'd say, a week or two away from rolling that out. It has expanded features for posting, expanded features for browsing, a lot more to do around with the user creation itself. So we can allow users to customize and personalize what they're doing. But primarily what it does is it builds out the actual platform itself and allows it to be a lot more functional and usable than what we've previously been doing. The whole kind of point behind where we're moving is eventually we would like to make sure that content creators are correctly remunerated for what they're actually producing. So they'll be given the opportunity to commercialize their content in a way that is defined by them. And they keep all proceeds. So the platform itself will not take any of the subscription fees that you end up charging. So those pieces of the puzzle are what we're working on at the moment. Is how do we do that, and how do we make it as easy as possible for both creator and user to both commercialize their content, and for users to obviously sign up to that piece.
And the hardest part about content creation right now is that every platform that you utilize, whether it's X subscriptions, YouTube subscriptions, locals, whatever, there's always a big cut that's being taken by the parent platform. And so yeah, you could get monetized and people could make I guess decent livings. I can't on YouTube, but decent livings on decentralized platforms. But you're really jumping hurdles. And this is just my personal opinion. This has nothing to do with the project chief or Zach's opinions. These are just my opinions. Just being in the space for as long as I have, is every time YouTube makes a change, I have to ask how high you want me to jump. And if I don't make that change, I start to lose some monetization. I start to lose subscribers. I start to lose likes or being relevant. As you can see, in many of my users in the YouTube side have said, is when I publish something, they don't get notified even though they have notifications on. So again, it's just really hard to keep up with YouTube's request or adjustments. And then if you don't adjust, if this was your main livelihood, you're pretty much in a bad spot. But I like the decentralized nature. I'm connected to the node right now, so I could create a post. And Zach, I got a quick question for you. In V1, V2, and now working on V3, how is the progression being? And don't give any internal details. I just want to know, in a nutshell, was it hard to kind of create this on the Telestai's network?
Right. So in the beginning, there was a lot of questions, and there was a little bit of uncertainty on exactly how we're going to do it. But right now we're taking advantage of these like kind of test nets that we're doing, and kind of having a route to kind of test things and continue to refine things. Because making a decentralized platform like this with everything we want is a pretty big scope. So originally we were thinking about maybe having posts on like IPFS and pinning them on IPFS. But when you have a lot of things pinned on IPFS and you need to fetch those quickly, it can get slow, it can get bogged down.
Right.
So it's not the best way to continue with this. So what we're doing is we're kind of creating our own node-based system as the back end. And this node system is open source, and then it's also running a database as well. It's actually running a database called Cassandra, but Cassandra naturally accepts node-based connections. So if you spin up another node, they'll connect to each other and they'll sync data back and forth, which is a kind of perfect application for what we're trying to do with it here. So we can have a bunch of parties or users, launch their nodes and essentially power the Lascaux front end, what we're seeing here. The other thing we're doing for like kind of sign in and sign up is we're using Telestai signatures. So kind of similar to like kind of what Ethereum's doing, but it's not as seamless. Like right now you're seeing the sign in, it gives you a challenge, and then if you had the core wallet open, you could sign it with a wallet address. But getting users to use the core wallet is kind of a big stepping stone. So we created our own kind of Chrome extension. So that's in testing right now, and that'll allow you to use BIP39 kind of seed phrase in a Chrome wallet extension, or you can use it on Brave too. And from that point, you can just generate signatures just straight from the browser that you're using Lascaux in. So we're continuing to improve on that stuff. V2 was very, very kind of successful. A lot of things happened. We got voting in. And then we also have AI evaluate content. So the evaluate content you don't have to be signed in for. So if you make a post and then you kind of type some content there, click the evaluate content button, it's going to scan it for basically spam. How, like, is this content kind of safe for the platform? And that's kind of like the first firewall there. And we're kind of testing to see kind of, is that kind of a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Right now, if a post scores below like a 25%, it won't even kind of let you post right now. But then we're kind of thinking like, okay, we'll run with it. We'll see how it's working for the system. Another idea that we have is with the whole voting thing is, you'll have the AI score it and then it'll just mark it as a default vote. Like, maybe it'll give it -10 votes, +10 votes, depending on the post quality. It can kind of do a little bit leveraging AI to kind of prevent some spam that, you can see on other social media platforms. We're trying to build it from the start, and there's a lot of problems in different aspects of social media spaces that, are being tackled by everyone right now. And so we're trying to run with these kind of test nets to see like how perfect can we get before we kind of roll out to a production release scenario. We still have a distance to go there, but the V3, which is going to be coming out here soon, is going to have a lot of great features. For example, in V2, you can't really directly reply to post. I mean, that's a pretty big thing. But V3 is going to include a lot of UI enhancements and improvements. There's going to be a whole kind of dashboard layout. It's going to be very functional. So I'm looking forward to the release of V3.
What's the frog community in the drop down, by the way?
That was just a community member who wanted to experiment with running a node, and we kind of just worked together, and I got him all the documentation, helped us prepare more documentation, because anyone can run a node, and if they do, just let us know, and then it can just a PR to GitHub is kind of what we're looking at it, and then that's how nodes will be added to the general network, so you can select a different node. But the idea is to build a platform so like the data is distributed just like kind of your average transaction networks like Bitcoin and other things like that. We want to ensure that being decentralized kind of in nature, that we have some robust backend nodes that are managing everything. And it makes the kind of economies a little bit different because all these social media platforms are trying to generate so much revenue to run the servers that run everything, but we can incentivize users to help us do the back end kind of handling here. And so it takes off a lot of stress when running a big platform like this if we can kind of perfect it and kind of run with where we're going right now.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think we're kind of aligned when we say that the current answer for content creation or content consumption is in this loop of the big giants, centralized agencies just having a monopoly on the data and the community, and then the creators get ate up. I do have a question here that I want to address before we continue. You asked if we can mine this token. Yes, you can. If you go to miningpoolstats.stream, one of our favorite websites, you can see all the various pools that are available. I believe Telestai team is working diligently. Oh my goodness. working in the background to continue to improve, upgrade, move forward, not only with the Lascaux project, but maybe there will be more pools in the future, more exchanges, but it takes time, right? So this is not a brand new token, but this is a newer token, but you most certainly can mine it. I believe I've been mining it with SRB miner. And I believe I did a video on that in the channel if you want to check that out. But yes, this token is mineable. It's how do you pronounce the algorithm, Chief? Is it Markai?
Meraki.
Meraki. See, I just suck at pronunciations all around. Everybody gives me grief for it in the community. But all right, so the Meraki algorithm is what it's called, and yes, you can mine it. I think with a number of different miners, but you could always use hashrate.no to look at what those options are. But Chief, what made you, just curious, and then we're kind of going backwards here according to what I outlined. What made you think of this project? Like, where did this idea come from?
Great question. I think where it originally spawned from is actually having conversations with mining community members who were doing content like yourself, and sort of talking to them about, they've got such a large subscription base. How do they, how much do they get the chance to pour into just building the content that drives their channel? And I was really surprised by how little they were supported by the platforms that they create so much content for. I think that created the seed that sort of was the beginning of Telestai. I also was very conscious that, this is a little bit more of a philosophical point. I was very conscious that we as people are storytellers, and I think people like to tell stories. And one of the problems that the platforms have when they're centralized is they don't allow people to tell the stories that they want to tell, because they're disincentivized. Platforms tend to point you down a specific direction to create content, and if you don't follow that formula, you actually end up being ratioed or put down the list, like I suppose you could say, of people who are found on those platforms. I wanted to create a platform where people tell the stories that they're passionate about, create the content that they're passionate about, and in that process, came up with the idea of Telestai, where creators were prioritized.
Yeah, you said the word ratioed. I say the word penalized, but that's me. Again, that's my opinion. Has no reflection on the project that they're talking about. But yeah, it's I don't know how to break it down into words, but it's just it's I feel like I'm in a rat race right now to be relevant on any of these platforms. But my goal, and this is just me personally, my goal on this channel is just to help people. That was the whole reason why it was created. A lot of cryptocurrencies were covered prior to the 2017 bull run. They were like lesser known cryptocurrencies. Some were forks of forks. And they were not as relevant, but they did get one or two people that are like, thank you for providing this information, I couldn't find it anywhere. And so even though it doesn't get a lot of views, it does help those few people navigate a certain situation, whether it's a crypto project, how to mine, how to do this, how to do that. It does help out, and that's my intended purpose of this channel. But it's grown over the years, so I'm not going to say I'm not blessed, because I'm definitely blessed. I know how hard it is to get over 1,000 subscribers, but like I said, it's a rat race to try to jump over these hurdles and complete whatever YouTube or Twitter. I don't even do a Twitter subscribe, but I noticed that's growing with a lot of the big community creators. And then Son of a Tech, obviously he has locals. I created locals, but yeah, you have to do everything on all of these platforms all the time, and it's really a full-time job just to keep up, and you're not even making full-time money. So when you post something on here, maybe Zach, you can allude to it. When you as a content creator, when everything is finalized and a content creator comes here and they want to start producing content on here, right now it's just text, right? It's not going to be any sort of media, MP4, anything like that, correct?
That's correct. I mean, those are platforms we do want to create. We're kind of seeing how it all handles with text first because it's kind of the least daunting. But, we'll kind of go from there, whether that's implemented in the same platform as Lascaux or we create another project for media and that sort of stuff. Time will tell with that stuff. But for now, it's kind of just text based.
But this kind of reminds me of the YouTube community posts, right? So like I could have posted, "Hey, we're going live with the team from Telestai," and then people can upvote, downvote, whatever it might be, and you can interact in V3 eventually when people can comment and comment on your original post. You can have an entire community interaction there. Like, what are you mining? Everybody comments what they're mining. What about polls? You think polls would be a possibility maybe in V4, V5, where you post a question and do like 3, 4 answers and then they can select those answers? You think that'd be a possibility V4, V5?
Yeah, that's a great feature. I would definitely love to get polls in.
Yeah, because I mean, if the community can vote, for example, I would like to get everybody who's listening that's mining to stop putting all their hash rate in one single pool, please. Our plant's cool, but let's decentralize that hash rate. Want to keep all networks, proof of work networks, decentralized as much as possible. But yeah, like I would post a question on there. What pool you're mining on, and then see what they say. So besides Lascaux, we kind of got the premise of the project, where it came from, how this philosophical question evolved, and the extension is in beta. All right, cool. So I can hit try. Oh, so it's on GitHub, and I can load this extension. Okay, cool. And because Chromium is pretty much everywhere now, so Edge, Brave, I can basically load this extension on everything. I would personally recommend Brave or Google, but that's cool. Anything you guys got in the works that you want to highlight or talk about while you have the opportunity with me on the channel?
Well, the next one kind of is a little bit of a mix between the Telestai kind of extension and then this new thing, Mercatus. So if you go to Mercatus, it's basically a platform in which, we've been saying that users should have the right to their data and what they want to share. But what we're doing is in the Telestai Chrome extension, there's a capture setting and then there's a stream setting. If you turn on capture, it'll start recording stuff. You can track your time across tabs, locally. But if you stream, it'll hit the Mercatus system, and then the idea is, you'll be streaming for shares. So if you're using the Chrome extension and you have that thing streaming, you'll have a wallet address associated with it. And then if you come to Mercatus and then you enter your wallet address, it'll show you how many shares that you've currently been accounted and how much time you've spent across different browser tabs. But the idea is to make this eventually into kind of a revenue stream. And maybe marketing agencies want to actually just acquire this data from users. And so it's giving the power back to the users. If they want to stream, that's completely up to you. If you want to have a chance at making revenue this way, sure, you can. In the current concept, this is kind of the second release of Mercatus. I had an early version just testing out all the backend features and everything. It's kind of powered by streaming, so Mercatus itself doesn't store any data besides the share count. Other than that, what would happen is that marketing agencies or other companies would purchase like a consumer license. So, they'll get a license paying X amount of TLS that gets rewarded amongst all the people that have submitted shares. And then from that point, they can basically directly stream the data from the user to the agency. Mercatus doesn't store any of that information. It's all real time.
So time out. Flag on the play, Chief, and then I want you to comment on this. Zach, this is why I knew when we met. I kind of like it. I don't know whose brainchild this is, but you're telling me that as an end user who visits a lot of websites, does a lot of purchases online and stuff like that, that I have the opportunity to decide whether or not I want to sell my data and have and like actually earn whatever from it, I guess you could say, because it really depends on if the marketing people even want to buy my personal data, correct? But is this a is this a way for me to decide whether or not I want to sell my information, but also earn whatever it might be from selling that information?
That's the end goal. And I've been playing around with the back end stuff. There's still a lot of economics to work around, but yes, that the user should have the right to say, check mark, yep, I'll stream, I'll have I'll get this revenue from basically streaming. Now, I just want to clarify, there is no revenue involved right now. We just released this kind of maybe a week ago, maybe even less than that. So we're kind of just testing out the system. So you can use the Chrome extension, you can turn on streaming, you can see how the platform is kind of starting to track things. But more information down the road. Hopefully some partnerships, can be acquired from this, and then we can start moving forward with it.
Well, I mean, these companies are making money hand over fist buying and selling user data. It's ridiculous. The reason we have so many more spam calls and spam texts and spam emails is because those companies, because when we hit that little check mark to agree to whatever blah blah blah, terms of service, privacy policy, we're basically handing over our rights to our own data, and then they get to do whatever they want with that. And so these companies pop up, they get the data from using their platform, and then they go down, whether it's a bankruptcy or whatever, or they get bought out by another company, and now they get sent to another company. Then they offer it like an auction to other companies, and then next thing you know, you're on 50 billion lists. This is why services such as not Off the Record, that's a ticketing service, I use that for when I get a speeding ticket. There's another one I can't think. Delete Me and other services to try to remove your data off of these platforms, because these companies are just making money hand over fist. So there's no option, and there wasn't any option to say, hey, I want to use your platform, but I don't want my data to be given away. I think some companies now have that little extra checkbox to choose that as an option, but not all companies. So the fact that you even mentioned this, even though it's still in alpha, this was something that I was talking about with Savage Mind back in the day, as there is no solution. Can blockchain be the answer? So that's really cool. And Chief, do you have any comments on Mercatus or anything you want to highlight about it?
Yeah, Mercatus is essentially a concept that we came up with where we believe that users, are effectively commercialized on the platforms, right? So you go onto a Meta-based platform or a Google-based platform, and your data is essentially scraped from what you do and then sold to these advertising agencies. And that's how they commercialize their platform. It's also how they pay the content provider as well. So that kind of has bugged me for a while, because I think it's not fair that users aren't able to benefit from the advertising revenue. But also, I thought to myself, users then have the power to be able to collate all of their data and make it mean something more to advertisers. So that's something that I thought was a bit of an improvement. Because it's completely private, you can choose, firstly, whether you want to do it or not. That's the first part. But two, if you wish to participate in it, you can actually earn from your browsing habits and from your consumption habits. That's sort of the end goal. So it's essentially a way for users to participate in this commercializing of data.
I mean, all right, you guys get out of my head first of all. I don't know, like maybe we're just like-minded individuals, but like I was thinking about this years ago, and I did not find any good solution whatsoever. So thank you for considering this as an option. So what's the, you don't have to go into too much details, but what do you think the rollout timescale might be for this particular side of the project, so to speak?
Um,
Any ideas?
It's tough to narrow down completely at this point. There's a couple of big things we need to tackle, and one of them is like kind of spam and verification of some of the data that, gets streamed because, people might start firing up like kind of bots to do kind of this farming per se, but it's not really user data. So we want to be sure as, when we secure or partner with someone who wants to use this service that we want to make sure that everything's prepared in a way in which they're receiving legitimate data. So, I can't really give a timeline right
Timeline?
now,
Yeah.
but we'll kind of see how it progresses. Between version 1 and version 2, I think they were maybe like 3 weeks apart. So we're moving fast on it, but I don't think we can give a set date for when this could move to the next step quite yet.
And that's honestly the hard part with crypto communities, right? People like me want to know, hey, what's up? What's going on? What's the next step? Where are we at in the roadmap? They want constant updates, and you want to, you guys. This is the cool thing. Hang on one second. Let me back up here. Out of all the crypto projects, I want to say one thing. One, is it a fork of another project? Yes or no, gentlemen?
Yes.
Okay. Is that project doing anything, whether it's Lascaux or Mercatus, similar to you?
No, I can't see any project that mimics what we're doing.
Exactly. Right? All we got through this past bear market leading into the current beginning of this bull market was copycat, fork, 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 same wallet, different name, different logo, mine it, that's it. That's what we got. It was annoying, right? But you guys are doing something and building something different. That's what intrigued me about this project and just talking with both of you, offline. So I'm very intrigued. I look forward to see, how things progress. I see you've been updating the website. So from the initial audit review, which can be found on Yeti.uk, that's Y3TI.uk. That wallet, I believe, has already been updated. So there needs to be a revision or an updated audit of it. But there were no red flags, no, malicious intent behind the core wallet. And now they came out with a browser extension. We'll probably explore that in a future video and play around with Mercatus, even though it's an alpha, because we can use this and start seeing real-time data. We can see, if we put in our address, we can see data, right, Zach?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll probably look at that in a dedicated video in the future, probably when I'm back for the Christmas holiday. So bear with me on that. But, V3's coming on Lascaux, and Mercatus is very intriguing. I mean, so you can mine this project, you can participate in the decentralized ecosystem, you can help contribute to the ecosystem, and then you can, as things roll out, participate in the content space while also looking at, data aggregation, I guess you could say, from yourself with the Mercatus side of things. So a lot of useful features, I would say. Now the core wallet, Zach, wasn't that similar to like the Ravencoin core wallet? Remind me, I could be thinking about the wrong wallet. What was the core wallet designed off of? Do you remember?
Exactly. Yeah, it is kind of based off of the kind of the Ravencoin base, and then there was some aspects of Meowcoin that also made it in there as well.
Right. And Meowcoin, I thought, and this is not about Meowcoin, but I think Meowcoin just hit over a $1 million market cap. So, I mean, congratulations all around. Zach, I met Zach offline through a number of different crypto projects. Chief and I got introduced offline just by networking, right? Colleagues in the space. And then, anytime a new product comes online, Yeti.uk wants to, audit the software, make sure that the core wallet's good, so that way you guys aren't installing something on your system. You should always be installing new wallets on a dedicated VM or a secure device where you're not going to your porn sites and all that craziness that you do, because if you get infected, then blah, blah, blah. I say it all the time, but you always want a dedicated system to install new wallets on. But, that's why we do the audits, to try to let the community know, hey, everything's above board, looks good, works fine. Now, inside the core wallet for Telestai is, I believe, assets still. That wouldn't be utilized in the future, but that is an opportunity if it needed to be used in the future, correct?
Right. It's nice to have
Yeah.
the option.
Go ahead, Chief. You got anything to say about
I was just going to say it's not something that we're pushing at the moment, but it's something that's there and available to us if we find a good use case for it within the project. Yeah.
Yeah, because the asset space for Raven Coin never really took off the way I would have liked. But back in the day, just in case you want to steal the idea, Savage Mind and I were talking about the Subaru S209, which is a limited edition spec of the Subaru, and anytime that car was sold, they would get this asset with that car, and then on that asset via IPFS or what have you, you could have like every time you did an oil change, any modifications you made. And so if I sold that car, it's basically like the person would be getting the car and that asset that would basically be like a Carfax, right? Like the history of the car, any modifications, any services. I sell that car, here's your asset, and then the next user can hang on to it and stuff like that. But that was a theory and something we talked about in a live stream, but it never came into fruition. But that is not something you guys are looking into right now. You're focusing hardcore on Lascaux and Mercatus, and then anything else that you guys are trying, that you can talk about, that you're trying to work into. Or those are two main things.
I think the main thing is Lascaux at the moment. The piece that is really important for us is obviously we've just partnered with Flux for some of the services that they're offering. You mentioned earlier that we can post, but we can't put media up there yet. I think that the piece that we want to recognize is our solution to that is integrating Flux into Lascaux to allow content creators to load and sort of store their their media on a decentralized network. That's important to us because we believe decentralized is decentralized. You don't cheat on that. You can't call yourself a decentralized social media platform if you don't have fully decentralized elements to it. That piece is probably going to be V4, V5. In terms of new releases, we do have the what we call the Telestai Creators Bubble, which is coming. That piece is going to be I think I'll probably muck this up in terms of my description of it, but a censorship-resistant operating system, which will allow you to effectively connect to the Telestai network no matter what, as long as you've got an internet connection. That censorship resistance piece is really important to us. We've got one of our devs, Topper, who has been working diligently at that, and we're really excited for bringing that to life. It'll mean everyone everywhere will be able to dial into Telestai. That's probably the other piece that's coming that we need to advertise.
Okay. And a silly question, and I could be way off base here. The Lascaux configuration, are you guys like kind of competing with Nostra? Is that the proper terminology? Would you say a decentralized text-based social media? Wouldn't that be like a NOSTR? I think is how you say it, or whatever you spell it.
Nostra.
Yeah. Okay.
We don't consider ourselves competition per se in that I don't like to compare what we do with other platforms simply from the perspective of we want users to make up their mind of whether we're valuable enough for them to use. In that sense, it's not about competition, it's about options in the market. If you look at the data research on a lot of social media platforms, people are on multiple platforms and for different reasons. What we're trying to do is create a super safe, super secure content creator based platform that users get benefit out of. I think that's probably what we would say. There are similarities to what we're doing with what Nostra is doing, but they obviously have their own ethos and sort of philosophy of what they're trying to do.
Gotcha. Okay. And there's room to grow, and there's plenty of I guess you could say space for everyone to have their own market niche, whatever you want to call it, niche. I do have a couple questions from the live chat, and I thank you for you guys taking the time to be on with me today. Appreciate it. We'll probably have to do another one, to be honest, when you guys, finalize, V3 and everything else. But I really appreciate it. So one question is from Trips, and he says, and I think this is for Lascaux. It's what's the lockup to run a node? Is there a lockup to run a node, and what is that?
Yeah, right now, at least in these testnet versions, there's no lockup to run a node. For production, we're still, seeing how the economics of it would work in the future, but right now everything's just kind of open gates. Feel free to run a node if you want to run a node. There's some pretty good documentation we put together, but it can be, I guess, you got to take some steps with it because right now it's not as seamless as I'd want it to be. Eventually, I want to like Dockerize it so it's like easy to run in one command, and you got Nginx packaged in there, and you have the backend services as well. But right now, it takes a little bit of configuration to get some of that stuff going. But I encourage everyone to do so, and even the Frog World community run one, we really appreciated him just from an outside perspective trying to run a node. If he encountered any problems with it, we're more than happy to reward TLS for trying to find these little errors in the system or little bugs in the documentation when setting this stuff up. So I definitely encourage everyone to if you're curious about it, do like get involved and experiment with it, and let us know that you're experimenting with it, and then we can work together to make the service even better in the future.
Have you ever heard of Retro Mike?
Yeah, retro. Yeah.
Yeah, he's one of my buddies, and he's really good. Retro, you said something about Dockerizing it. Retro Mike has got everything Dockerized. Probably has my life Dockerized. So he posted a question as well in the live chat. I see an Electrum wallet code on the GitHub, but no binary releases. Is this still a work in progress? And if so, will the Electrum wallet support Trezor?
I think Trezor support or some hardware wallet that like is something we're working on in the background. We do have like a block book explorer, which I think is like one of the pre-requirements for doing some of the stuff, and that's an open source repo. I'm not like super familiar with the hardware wallets or how they interface with all that stuff, but we do use one of the like the block book explorers right now for a lot of internal services, and it's just sitting at blockbook.telestai.io.
Okay. So
And Electrum is live though, isn't it? From what I can see,
Yeah,
I was running an Electrum wallet. Yeah.
I actually did put a comment in the chat there with a URL to what the release is.
did it stick?
Yeah,
Did it stick or it post?
I think so. I think so.
Make sure I can add you. Do you post it on X or do you post it on YouTube?
On YouTube.
Okay. Just making sure that it doesn't, because there's so many, speaking of scammers and spammers and how crazy the world is right now, YouTube is rampant and Twitter is rampant with all these fake bot accounts and stuff like that. So you have to like block certain things and stop people. That's why I made some people some mods. But Retro Mike, let me know if you're listening. Did that answer your question? And what was the URL again? You said it was blockbook.telestai. What?
.io.
Okay. Oh, DJ Mines 22 in the chat. Is this Meowcoin? No, it's not Meowcoin. It's Telestai. Get out of here. I didn't see any URL come through. Okay, so let me go ahead and post it. So blockbook dot and Chief Anything? Go ahead and talk while I'm trying to think here. Just say whatever you want.
Yeah, look, I think one of the things that we want to really do is build community. So, people like yourself who have supported us and, helped to validate for the community that our wallet is secure and safe. These are the types of grassroots connections we want to be building. So we'd encourage anyone who has any interest in the project itself, even if it is just to find issues with stuff that we're doing, whether that's logical oversights in the way we're designing stuff. We really want to hear from them. That feedback is really invaluable. So if you have the time and you want to jump in and are able to give us some thoughts on that, we'd really be keen for the feedback on that. So yeah, please come and have a chat to us in the Discord. We're really keen to engage and give some insight to what we're doing, but also receive feedback on what we're doing too.
Yeah, you got the community is crazy. I love it and I hate it all at once. There's some really good people that like to contribute in a meaningful way, and then there's some people that don't like to contribute. But you find the good ones, and when you find the good ones, they're really good team to even if they're not a part of your core team, they're really good to have alongside you and help fine tune some things like you saw with the fraud community. So
the other thing I'd also say as well, just while it's on the top of my mind, is what you noticed with the bots piece is something that we're really, really passionate about and want to make sure isn't part of the platform whatsoever. We've got some thoughts on how we do that, and Zach has some really genius ideas of how we're going to make that function. But that's something that we're very passionate about. And just to give you an indication, on my own personal X account, I had at one point I was just tipping over 1,000 users, and then X has gone through and wiped a whole bunch of bot accounts to the tune of I think it was about 170 to 180 different accounts. So my following went down by about 170. Now, I'm not that passionate about who's following me in the sense of the number isn't important, but I find it mad crazy that a platform can have 13, 17, 20% of your followers are bot accounts. That just blows my mind and shouldn't be part of a social media platform at all.
it's ridiculous, and it gets worse every bull market. Every single bull market, it gets absolutely worse. Oh, I see a number of people are streaming also on YouTube. My apologies if I'm overlapping you, but this is when I do my show, so that's not fair. Anyways, man, so let's wrap up because we got about 12 minutes left. Zach, I know you're busy, and I appreciate you, by the way. I don't know if a lot of people know about it, but Zach did me a solid because I suck at keeping up with everything I need to do, and serpentx.tech is up and running finally. But Zach, besides all the other things that you got going on, you're going to keep pushing on Lascaux. So V3 is coming soon. That we can kind of put a stamp on or kind of gauge a timeline, but the other one we can't, which is fine. Is there anything else that you see, you or Chief, that's kind of plaguing the crypto ecosystem that you guys might work towards? Is there any leaks that you can say or that you can't say?
I don't think we have anything kind of that we can kind of mention quite yet. Already the Lascaux V3 is going to be pretty huge, so I'm looking forward to that. Mercatus is going to be interesting as well, but I really like to kind of communicate kind of in person or directly with the direct consumer, I guess, of Mercatus and see how we can tailor the system better for them. Because if we can get that and we have like the standard of, how data is presented to people consuming it, then, I think that'll give us a lot of legitimacy there. And then it will also make the path forward for a direct kind of revenue for users who opt into Mercatus.
You know what I was thinking about? How does the company or the organization or the marketing firm that already buys data, like we just talked about earlier, how did they receive that information? If we know somebody that's in that field, go to the Telestai Discord and talk, because if they can see how they consume that data, that can help them kind of, you know, make a presentation, I guess you could say, of how the data would be fed to whatever marketing partners come on board with the project. You know what I'm thinking? Like basically however they get the data electronically. I'm pretty sure they can probably print out like a PDF and get all the information, but they don't do that. They just get it fed to a database, and then that database aggregates it, and then they get it presented to them in whatever format they want: emails, names, you know, average buys, whatever it might be. If we could see what that is and get that to you guys, I think that could help you out with Mercatus. Would you agree or disagree?
Yeah, I'd agree, and that's a good point because right now, since it's all kind of streaming related, it's just going through real time. But right now, nothing's absorbing that information besides the tiny little database that we have behind Mercatus that basically tracks the share count and time spent. So if you plug in your TLS address right now, say you've been using Mercatus, that's the only 2 bits of information that's stored directly within Mercatus.
Okay.
The others are being streamed from the Chrome extension to Mercatus, but then that's when it would hit what would be called a consumer, or even like you're watching the stream right now on YouTube, you're a consumer of that stream data actively. But that means that right now, if a agency was interested in getting Mercatus data, they would be buying a license to basically, use that stream to live read data. So it'll just be bombarding them. But unless they have something prepared to store that data, like a database that can just log everything, then it kind of just goes into the void. It doesn't get saved anywhere. So
So you got to fine tune the nuances and make it more efficient depending on whatever data they are looking to aggregate.
right. And there's some other ideas I had, like of maybe even partitioning or organizing different streams based on, is it like e-commerce, is it social media, so you can get a little bit more granular with things. So it's exciting to think about, but it's kind of just all ideas kind of running in my head for the next steps. But that's usually how it goes. Like I'll think on it for a few days and I'll come up with an idea, and then I'll just drill down and see what happens.
Chief, do you have a bug bounty by chance? Is there a bug bounty available?
So that's something that we're working to incorporate. And in fact, with the release of Lascaux v3, we're going to be putting a bug bounty up. Part of why we have the tokenomics, coinomics, however you want to phrase it, with Telestai is that we believe that people who contribute to the development of the actual platform should receive benefit of that in TLS. So that's why we've got the dev fee position the way it is. We want people to, find the bugs. We'll fix the bugs and we'll reward you for finding that. And we'll have like some documentation on all that too. So yeah, we will have all that bug bounty piece come live.
Okay. If there's a special URL, special location in the Discord or whatever that you guys finalize, let me know and I'll make sure to retweet it and stuff like that and share it on the Discord. I do have a mining question here. I'm see if I could try to answer this, but we'll see. As we wrap up, guys, we got 6 minutes left. Make sure to smash that like button. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. We do these live streams. At least I do these live streams every Saturday at 11 a.m. Oftentimes giving you some crypto related, what's going on in the market, but then also having on special guests like we have here today. Again, both Chief and Zach are with Telestai, and they're making time to come on the channel, and we can't thank them. This is a huge inconvenience for Chief because our time difference. So make sure you smash that like button for them. And jump in the Discord. I linked it in live chat. Please jump in. So the question is from Lord Black. What a name. All right, so we use advanced Nvidia AI cards to mine that are extremely fast memory. Also, we have 4090s and 4070s that are very fast core speed. What type of card is most efficient, mem versus core? So on the algorithm that Telestai runs on, I would say it's more core, right? Like mem does help, but it's more core, is what I would say. I'm not sure, Chief. Do you mind? You and Zach, do you guys mind, or are you guys just building? Okay.
Yep. We mine. I'm mining it at the moment because I want to secure the network. It's I find more mem based, so it is less intense from a power draw perspective. I find that the algo Meraki is a little bit closer to ETH from a performance point of view than you would actually believe until you start doing it. It's actually very efficient in that light. It's not quite as Casper efficient. So, Casper and some of those really light algos are very easy on the GPU. We're probably just a touch more.
Yeah. So I mean,
Is that fair, Zach? I think that's fair, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way to sum it up is look at like an algorithm like ProgPow or KaPow and
wow.
how it works. But you know, basically the parameters that ProgPow uses, aggressively change up, F hash, whereas Meraki, we have that ProgPow base, so it's using a lot of different hardware stuff, but those parameters on the ProgPow side are kind of tuned down. So you're getting a heavy mix of F hash in there and, a slight bit of like ProgPow and KaPow on top of that.
So for warming my house, I mine this currency.
Yeah. Especially like, KaPow is pretty heavy. ProgPow even in relation to Meraki is pretty heavy as well. But Meraki is quite interesting. I mean, a lot of people are getting pretty good hash rates on it, and it's pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, so with all my rigs on it, um, it does a great job of being efficient, but also still providing warmth when it gets cold here. It does get cold here in North Florida. I know I'm in Florida, but don't think it's like Miami and like 65. It gets down to like 32, 30 degrees here. I want to see benchmarks real quick because you said 4090 and 40. So right now the 4090 is doing 148 mega hash at 386 watts. And what was the other card you mentioned? I think it was a 4070.
Mm-hmm.
4070 is, we got the 4070 Super. Here's the 47. So 66 mega hash, 66.3 at 157. I'm really waiting for the 5000 series. I'd be very intrigued at what the 5000 series does, with this algorithm. That's always my favorite part, is testing and tuning new algorithms and seeing what new hardware is capable of doing. I didn't grab the new Intel GPU. I'm sure I think DJ Mines or Brandon Coin did, but when you guys have it, and you guys can test Telestai, like let me know. I'll be intrigued to see what the new Intel B580 it's just a budget-friendly card, so don't expect it to blow you out of the water. But nobody's competing at that low end like Intel right now because that's the only place they can compete. So if you guys get that, let me know. But plenty of exciting things happening with the project. Very intrigued, very excited. Chief and Zach will keep you guys posted on the various socials. Make sure you follow Telestai on Telestai. Oh my goodness, I suck at this. On Twitter, on their outlets, Discord. I linked it in there. The main website has been updated quite a few times since I first saw it. I think they got it at a stable foundation, and they're just going to keep you guys posted. But check them out. Consider contributing, being a community member, and participate in this very intriguing ecosystem. Any closing words that you might want to say before we get out of here, gentlemen?
Just from me, just a big thank you to you and to the community for supporting us. Crypto is about the people, and we really are grateful that we have people support and they're willing to go with us on this journey.
And Zach?
Yeah, echoing the same thing. Appreciate the time here that we got together and kind of talked about this stuff. It's always fun. So, yeah, looking forward to the future updates and future streams as well.
All right. Good deal. Well, I'm going to wrap up Don't go anywhere just yet, gentlemen. I might have a few questions for you offline, but as far as everything for this live stream of Caffeine and Crypto, I thank you so much for hanging out. Red Panda Mining should be going live here in a second, but I gotta get running. So I'm gonna send you guys on over there. Don't go anywhere just yet. I'll redirect you myself. But as always, do me a favor on the way out. Hit that like button, get subscribed, hit notification bell to stay up to date. So let's check out additional links in the description to help support the channel and what we do here. And as always, or at least recently, this live stream has been brought to you by colleagues who sponsored the channel for the next couple months, but more importantly, Telestai, who came on with the show. So catch y'all later. Take care. Today's video is brought to you by CryptoMinerBros.com, a leading cryptocurrency mining hardware vendor / distributor, bringing you the latest offerings from Ice River, Bitmain, Goldshell, WhatsMiner, and much more from all the various manufacturers. And while they are headquartered in Hong Kong, they have mining distribution centers here in North America that can actually save you money on import duties, trusted by a number of different brands or companies in the industry. They also have a great following on social media, and if you follow them, you might get an update on whatever the latest offering is on hardware that comes out, as well as competitive pricing in the industry. If you're interested to learn more, click the link in the description and use coupon code SERPENTX at checkout.